Hi guys. So I'm here with Praew Kawita. How do you say your last name exactly?
It's it doesn't really matter actually because
It matters to me because
yeah,
I'm trying to figure out how you pronounce it.
it's you know what? It's a new one. And I didn't really know how to pronounce it either.
No.
It's so we named our surname when our dad got sick
Mm,
for cancer, and we changed it because we thought that it was like, like having a new life or
right.
for our good luck. So we changed it. And when we changed it, I was like, how do we pronounce it? And me, my mom, and my brother, apparently we pronounce it differently. So
Okay, okay.
I would pronounce it like Vatanachyankur for English speakers.
Mm,
แต่ภาษาไทยก็คือ but in Thai is วัฒนชยันกูล
that's a bit difficult. But now I have sort of like the proper pronunciation for your last name.
yeah
So we'll keep to Praew Kawita.
วัฒนชยันkur. That's
Okay.
what I do
All
it.
right. So can you describe what type of artist you are?
Well, nowadays anyone who makes art call themselves contemporary artists
Mm,
or conceptual artists, which questions the issues around us, the current environments, the world and society that we live in, and also the we can question the future of the society too, and something that I think art is a visual language of philosophy. So it can be something that no one has ever questioned before, but
right.
you can question about that too.
So when you describe being a contemporary conceptual artist, basically you're an artist who's enabled to question things and then embody that in how you want to deliver it and
Yeah,
execute it.
yeah. And also like by delivering the message, it's not like we have the answer to that question yet. We don't have to have that, but it we can just deliver the message of the question. And then I think the charm of contemporary art is the fact that it's not about the artist, but it's also about the communication between the artist and the audience. And we can interpret our questions together, and we can seek for answers together by having conversations with the audience through the visual language of art.
It's like you're creating healthy debate.
Yeah.
And I'm going to bring this back to exhibition that I went to see,
Yeah.
Voidscape. And this is from my own personal experience. Each person who went in to experience it all had a different type of experience.
Yeah.
And I think that's what, and when it comes down to art and what you deliver in your art, that's exactly what it is. Each person has a different perception of what they're going to get from it.
Yeah.
And then they're allowed to have their own questions,
Yeah.
their own answers. You're just really, it's as if you're like a medium.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I think that's what art is for me. It's not one person's perspective. It's not the whole community's perspective, but it's about allowing each person to have completely different opinions about their interpretations of what the issues are, and it's about the communication of the artist and the audience to another audience as well, about the memories, backgrounds, experiences. And I think that's how the community is made of, isn't it?
Yeah. I guess like the reason I asked you to describe because when I'm very familiar with your art,
Yeah.
you yourself, you are the performing artist who brings out the message. I mean, you invest your whole entire your body, your soul, mental, physical, everything.
Yeah.
And if I bring this back to being less well versed in understanding performance artists or media artists like yourself, I didn't quite know how to describe or term them, because it's like you would see performance artists incorporating different types of art. Like for yourself, you incorporate digital sometimes in your art, media in your art, and then you have your tangible physical self in the art. So for someone who's not well versed in the arts, they might just see art as being, okay, a painting, or if they go theater, they see like someone performing on stage. But here you're incorporating it in a whole different medium.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think it can be anything.
Right.
I think when we talk about when I was in primary school or high school, I thought the same. I thought art was to create drawings or paintings, or sculptures, which is right too. But we have the tools or mediums are all around us in the air. I mean, air could be art too. Breeze could be art too, or smell could be art too. But it's about how do we use the mediums that we find in nature or anything. And then we use that to question something or to make a conversation of something through those mediums. I think that's the job of an artist.
I think one of the things that's your core is you have very strong opinions about situations in the world, and then you convey that through yourself. Like for example, like about trafficking, or anything from like the environment, pollution. Each time when you go into a performance or an exhibition that you have to plan out, how do these situations come to you? Do you automatically know what you want to convey, what you want to ask, what questions you want to bring out?
It's usually from research, yeah. So usually so my family, we're all lawyers actually. Except my mom and dad who are in the creative industry. But all of us, the rest of them are lawyers and judges, attorneys. And they actually specialize in domestic violence, labor exploitations, and human trafficking. So that's how I got inspired from like having dinner with them or like conversations with my aunts and uncles about the cases that they're doing, and it really really inspired me. Like they believe that like they really believe in law because they think that law renders justice for all, but they also believe in changing the laws too. Like if we don't change the law, then if there's a problem and we don't change it, then it's not going to be solved.
Right.
So by changing the law to adjust with the current issues that we have is also important. So they believe that being lawyers are important in terms of like renders justice for everyone, and also to be able to suggest new written laws for the Thai society.
This is the first time that I'm hearing this, because I think like I mean, we're always meeting with each other, and I know you're filled with a lot of questions and you bring a lot of issues out in the forefront of your art, but it's the first time that you're sharing with me that I didn't realize that you're inspired by the fact that you have a foundation of family who want to advocate it from a different perspective. And then from your perspective, you're advocating it from a creative
aspect,
which is really awesome. It's really cool. Because I think for me, every time I see you, it's like back to back from one performance to another. You're either flying around and then you come back and then you're getting ready for the next one. And each message that you're conveying, it's like it moves from one message to another. And then I need to attest to you guys like how much energy that Praew puts into each and every performance. This is amazing. And I'm like, sometimes I just like take a couple steps back. I'm like, I don't know how this little petite little sister of mine does all this, but I think I think it comes from passion.
Yeah, I am very, very inspired by what my family is doing
Mm,
and what their beliefs are. And I think that, at some point I wanted to be like them, but of course I didn't study law. But I think that anyone with any things that they are specialized at can use what they have to do what they really do. And yeah, so
well, we all have our strengths.
yeah,
So, however, we use our strengths and our voice in that aspect.
yeah,
So, growing up, um, who were your inspirations? Because I think you've always had a creative bug in you.
yeah,
So, whether it, because I think for female artists, especially in your line, being a performance artist, it's very few and rare, but I think it's growing. So, as like we take this back, who were you inspired by growing up?
at, at a very young age, it was my mom and dad.
Mm.
It was first my dad because he was, I believe that he was the first one who did Bangkok film festivals, and he took me to see all the experimental films and like discussed with me about the development of characters, like the symbolics within the film and what it means, and like why do we frame this frame in the film and what it means. And I think it just really inspired me. And when my dad died and I was just a teenager, my mom then became my inspiration because she was then a single mom. And we were still in me and my brother were still in high school. I was about to go to college, and she had to decide whether she would bring me back to Thailand to study in Thailand because, of course, we didn't have now that we didn't have enough money. And she decided that no, if she was going to an art school, then she would still have me in Australia where I studied. But she would do anything that she could. Like she was in another job before, and then she had to do like this whole test on interviews to upgraded her job basically, like
To support,
support
right?
to support my studies for art. And she, like every time that I told her that I could do something else, and she was like, no, this is your passion, this is what you should do. um and anytime that I showed her like my first video editing in university, for example, she would cry and she would be like, you should really do this, and I would do anything to support you. So it was my mom during university that really inspired me in terms of female strength. And
Mm.
you saw her. She's such a sweet
I'm
tea
I
person.
the reason why I'm smiling is because like I know the intricacies of Prow's work because her earlier work, it's her mom who
Yeah,
is full. If like after we finish our session, I'm going to kind of direct you to her website and you can look her work up. But in your earlier work, it was your mom who was holding you up,
yeah,
who was like behind the camera, but you would never know.
yeah,
You would never know that she's like because now as your work has built up, you have like a great team. It's like a little village. But in the beginning, your mom was basically almost practically the two of you in the beginning.
yeah. It was basically the two of us. She would be someone behind cameras. Before going into the set, she would be someone who's like placing all the equipment, preparing all things, safety nets, for example. Like she would be the one who did that. So first it was just two of us, sometimes my brother, but um, basically it was just us two. Um, you can see that in my first series, it was just, very close ups of my face and like doing things. Those series were all just my mom's work.
I was really surprised because the work looks as if there was like a whole entire team working on it. So it shows how like the basic and foundation of creativity, you don't need a lot of people. You just need to have that message. So thank you for sharing so much, because I think at the core of it is because you had such a strong foundation from your father and your mother who allowed you to be creative, to find yourself. And I remember you sharing at one point how your father was very supportive as you were growing into like all these areas of creativity. You weren't told what to do, you were allowed to grow.
Yeah, I think um my my dad, we were getting so close when I was a teenager, so like 14 to 18. He died when I was 18. But when I was a teenager, he came to visit me a lot in Australia, I think once a week. And considering he was working full time in Bangkok, Thailand. But he would come and see me. We would watch movies every night because he's like big fans of movies. But we would also go out and see exhibitions, and he was like a full supporter for anything that I do in terms of creative. And he told me that, like um, there was this one time he told me that the worst thing you can be is to be like others, like wow. To think like others. Um,
So your dad said the worst thing you can be is be
like others or think like others. You need to be able to explore yourself.
Yeah.
And know who you are by exploring yourself. Um, and it's about finding who you are by creating yourself through learning and exploring and experimenting. Failing, failing's good. Making mistakes are good because then you learn, and then that's how you grow. You need to get out of your comfort zone.
You very much have a lot of your father in you. I had the honor of working with Prow's father, and I didn't connect it until we started having a conversation, and then I understand why you are the person you are today. Incredible family. So now bring it fast forward to where we are now. As a female performance artist, what are the challenges for you?
A lot, actually. I think the support as well. There are not much female artists. I mean, not only in Thailand but all around the globe.
Yeah.
The percentage of female artists are like very few comparing to the male artists. In which I still question why.
Yeah, is it because does it have to do is it more male dominated, or are females more intimidated to want to be more vocal about their messages? I mean, from what's your opinion on it, or you're not quite sure?
I'm not quite sure what it is. But I think as an artist, I feel that the challenge is you need to get out of this mindset and perspective that the society gives you to, if you're like this, then you're going to be accepted. If you behave like this as a woman, then you're going to be respected or accepted by the society. You're going to be called like a good girl. But if you get out of this comfort zone or this zone that people think that is good, like or considered, a good girl, then you're not going to be accepted. And I think that that's the challenge of female artists, such as me.
So, in a way, whether you're an artist or not an artist, it's getting out of your that mindset of having those boundaries and being able to cross over those boundaries, and that could be a situation for all types of careers. It is changing, though.
It's changing. I think, but being provocative is a core of being an artist. I think not many people like provocative people, you know, like
Yeah, because I think there can be sort of a stereotype on being provocative
yeah,
because they don't see the art or the message or the layers of it. It's more of like judging on the surface, which for a lot of females wanting to kind of cross into this field, it might hinder them because of people's perception.
yeah. I For me, I don't really know what others think or like
Right.
what other female artists are, you know, dealing with. But I think that's one aspect for me is to, you know what you're doing and believe in what you're doing, believe in your message. And even though you don't know the answer, but believe in keep questioning things, you know, and you're allowed to be aggressive, I guess, like or be I mean, people think that, you know, being angry about something or being vocal about something is wrong. But if you're angry or if you feel anything, you're allowed to feel and show that feelings too.
I think it's because it's always been, it's not a generational thing. It's always been like, you're going to get a lot of criticism
Yeah.
when you're vocal, in any type of form of art. And if you don't have a strong foundation, it can really affect you.
Yeah, yeah. You okay. I think it's like you need to be mentally really strong. In terms of like, you know, whatever I do, I get criticisms all the time. And I've read those criticisms. I think I've been an artist for 11 years now. And every single day I have to deal with those. But it's about learning how to like, you know, criticisms are good
Yeah.
because then it makes you question like, okay, am I like that? Am I not like that? Okay, if I'm like that, then how do I adjust myself to um so for example, somebody could say that, okay, but there's not enough research in this one. Then I go back and do more research and I go to study trips or field trips more. Then I do like short documentaries to show that, you know, I go and interview people more. um but if it's something that, you know, I can't change, like my appearance or my physical look, then or my voice, then there's nothing I can do about it, you know. So it's good. Like criticisms make me grow too.
I think this is the issue with any type of artist.
Yeah.
I mean, Van Gogh went through it. Like,
Yeah.
every type of musicians, they all go through people being opinionated about their
Yeah.
work. And then it turns out that you look back and they're brilliant
Yeah.
because they were not being like others, like your dad said. So I think it's really important just to have conversations. I think like through your work, it's having conversations. Through us having a conversation, is having a conversation and not preaching, but sharing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's important. It's important to I think art is a form of conversing. Us conversing is a form of art because then we question, like we don't have any solutions yet, but we're thinking about, okay, so what could this be? What could this lead to?
Yeah, we have like a lot of really fun conversations. I love helping Prow out sometimes when she needs like some advice, and it's like vice versa. And when it comes down to it, that's all it is having good communication.
Yeah, like the first time that we met, and we didn't realize that it was going to turn into an art piece.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like we met in a cafe.
Yeah. I think it's because at the core of it, when you're meeting someone and it's like you see through them, you don't see on the surface. Um, because I think I was drawn to you because of the message of um the performance you were about to do, and I just felt drawn to that, and I wanted to help.
Did I tell you up front that I was gonna do this and that?
No, it was actually our friend Kit who told me that he was going to work with you, and then I think he shared the message, and then I didn't expect anything till I met you, and then it's like then we ended up just like just hanging out and helping each other. But I guess the core of this conversation to tell you guys is, you know um it's always much more than the surface. It's always much more than what you see on the surface. And don't be intimidated by art, any form of art. Um, just just feel and absorb it, and go on your own pace.
Yeah.
Because I used to feel the same way, being intimidated by art. Maybe I don't know enough, maybe I don't know what it means. And I think it's just like one step in, just kind of just immerse yourself, and whatever you feel, that's what you feel.
Yeah, that's the thing about, I think, conceptual art. It's about the audience. It's about the conversation between the artist and the audience interpretation. So any kind of interpretations, that's art for the artist.
All right. So that ends well. Thank you so much, Prow. ขอบคุณครับ And we'll see you guys next time. And then I am going to put Prow's website here, and you can check it out.
Thank you.
Bye.